Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 36 of Be With Me. We're in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 10 today, and an amazing passage that reflects from the New Testament back to the Old Testament. This is Paul, and he's saying, I want you to know, brothers, that our fathers were all under the cloud and passed through the sea. So he's referring back to the time of Exodus. And all were baptized into Moses in the cloud and in the sea. And all ate the same spiritual food. And all drank the same spiritual drink. For they drank from the spiritual rock that followed them. And then get this, and the rock was Christ. Nevertheless, with most of them, God was not pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness. They had this catastrophe. Now, these things took place, the Old Testament, these things took place as examples for us that we might not desire evil as they did. So let me stop there. So this is a passage about the personal experience that a group of people had with God, the Father for sure, and he's also telling us with Jesus, with the Trinity. So they had this experience of a general experience of creation and being born into a body. But here it's dialed up into the contact and exposure to God himself. So these are real people. They're under a cloud. That is the presence of God in the Old Testament was a cloud that went before them during the daytime, and at nighttime it was a fire, and it was a physical representation and the actual representation of God amongst us. And it's similar to the still small voice that we have, but they had occasionally the booming voice, which they were able to physically say day and night. So in a sense, I think he's making the point here that they didn't have any excuse, and what they ended up doing in rebellion, they shouldn't have done. So they're under the cloud, they're under the sea. That is, they had experiences of God, miracles of his escape from Egypt, of his choice of them as a people, of his, when they left Egypt, they went as rich people with all this gold and silver, because they, after the 10 plagues, the people donated to get rid of them. And they get launched into this place, into the promised land, which was actually very nearby. It took them 40 years to get there because of all this rebellion that they was birthed in their souls. So they were baptized into Moses. That is, they were a formal part of this. They were all in. They basically had no excuse. So verse 3. They ate the same spiritual food of experience of these miracles and the presence of God and exposure, but also literally of spiritual food. So the God had been providing manna for them and actually meeting needs. And then verse 4 is so fun. And all drank the same spiritual drink, for they drank from the same spiritual rock that followed them, and the rock was Christ. So you have to go back to Exodus chapter 17 for this. So it says, all the congregation of the people moved on from the wilderness of sin according to the commandment of the Lord. But there was no water for them to drink. Therefore the people quarreled with Moses. So get the heart of this. And they said, give us water to drink. And Moses said, why do you quarrel with me? Why do you test the Lord? So the fact that they're accusing Moses really means they're accusing the Lord. But the people thirsted for water, and the people grumbled against Moses and said, why did you bring us out of Egypt to kill us and our children and our livestock with thirst? So Moses cried to the Lord, what shall I do with this people? They are almost ready to stone me. And the Lord said, pass on before the people, taking with you some of the elders of Israel. Take in your hand the staff with which you struck the Nile, and go. Behold, I will stand before you there on the rock at Horeb, and you shall strike the rock, and water shall come out of it, and the people shall drink. And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. And he called the name of the place Massa and Meribah because of the quarreling of the people, because they tested the Lord by saying, is the Lord among us or not? Great question. So here in the New Testament, we find that somehow this rock was Christ. Now, some people say maybe the rock that Moses struck, they actually took with them, kind of like as a pump or something. Scripture silent on the matter, but the rock that followed him. So the presence of the Father, Lord, and the presence of Jesus was definitely with this people. So the point is, I think, that they had no excuse. And verse 5, nevertheless, with most of them, God was not pleased, and they were overthrown in the wilderness. So a great question, spiritual question for all of us is God pleased? I think an assessment of our spiritual posture with the Lord, or our place with the Lord, is not inappropriate with the Old Testament. It's not inappropriate with the Corinthians, and it's not inappropriate with us. And they were found short, obviously, and they were overthrown in the wilderness. And I just love this verse 6. Now, these things took place. So why the Old Testament? Why the violence of the Old Testament? Why the raw spiritual encounters of the Old Testament? Here's the reason why. It's for you. I did this for you. Now, these things took place as examples for us, that we might not desire evil as they did. So why do we have the Old Testament? Well, it's for you to serve as an example, so that I am careful, that I may not sin, that I may not desire evil. So conclusions today. Clearly, don't desire evil. That's a good point. That's what happened in the Old Testament. They were overthrown. They were judged for it. They were punished for it. A nicer question, perhaps, is God pleased? It's a great question, and he gets to ask it. It's not like, hey, I get absolved from the question. And then the third thing, I think, is that the reason that we have the Old Testament in the examples, as these examples serve us. So let's not be prideful. Let's recognize our blessing, the presence of the Lord, and our obligations to him, as well as the duties and allegiance that we owe him. Thank you for listening. I'll see you tomorrow.